Coming up in today's bulletin, the latest decision regarding our cheating cricketers. Russia is angry and is expected to retaliate, and Facebook admits to keeping tabs on users. Welcome to La Trobe Live, broadcasting from the Media Hub at La Trobe University in Bundoora. This is Charlie's Update. Cricket Australia CEO James Sutherland has refrained from calling the Australian cricketers cheaters. Steve Smith, David Warner and Cameron Bancroft are being sent home today after they were caught ball tampering during the third test. Sutherland confirmed only these three players had prior knowledge of the plan, and coach Darren Lehman was unaware. Tim Payne has been appointed the new captain, and significant sanctions will be announced today. Julie Bishop will meet with the Russian ambassador today after allegations they will retaliate to our decision. Australian diplomats could be sent home from Russia after Australia gave Russian diplomats 7 days to leave the country. A former Russian spy and his daughter were poisoned on British soil earlier this month, and countries began sending diplomats home. Thousands of Australian childcare workers walked off the job yesterday in protest of their pay. The workers are requesting a 30% pay rise after they lost a 5-year battle with the Fair Work Commission. A childcare worker with a Certificate 3 earns $21.29 an hour. However, a metal fitter who also has a Certificate 3 will earn $39.47 per hour, almost double. Federal Education and Training Minister Simon Birmingham said he expected all early learning and childcare centres to value their employees and pay them as much as they can afford, with many already paying above the award. Facebook has admitted to keeping tabs on users by looking at texts and calls, as well as activity on the Messenger app. In a blog post, they said they do not record the content, but access contacts if the user has given permission. This comes after it was discovered Cambridge Analytica accessed over 50 million Facebook accounts. Ex-tropical cyclone Nora is weakening, and floodwaters in Cairns should start receding today. Images of the aftermath have come out with trees and cars blown across the area. The cleanup will begin today. An official review of the Manchester bombing has found that there was poor communication as the event unfolded. Fire crews were left in the dark and were forced to turn away after a suicide bomber targeted an Ariana Grande concert. 22 people were killed that night in May last year. Prince William does not look like he will be attending the FA Cup final later this year. Although he is the president of the Football Association, the final falls on the same day as his brother's wedding. Prince Harry will marry his actress fiancée Meghan Markle on the 19th of May. If you want a good bargain on petrol this Easter weekend, you probably won't find one. Prices are set to skyrocket in most capital cities. The cheapest will be around $1.45. An out-of-control Chinese space station will plummet back into Earth's atmosphere this weekend. But don't be alarmed, the pieces should burn up upon re-entry. Queensland Police are urging residents to only contact 000 in real emergencies, after a study found police were requested 612,250 times. 90% of these calls were not for genuine emergencies. The Ring True social media campaign suggests considering other options to report crime, such as Police Link and online forms on the Queensland Police website. Victoria could be set to legalise recreational cannabis use. A 680-page report was released on Tuesday by the Parliament's Drug Law Reform Inquiry, outlining how to tackle illicit drug use. The inquiry recommends recreational cannabis be researched by a new government advisory council. If made legal, Victoria would follow Colorado and California in the US and Uruguay. And the Melbourne International Comedy Festival kicks off tonight. Head to the MICF website to find out more. Looking at the weather for the next few days, we're expecting a high of 29 in Melbourne today, cooling down to 13 overnight. Slightly colder tomorrow with 23, and the same for Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. What do you think, Sean? I know it's a week out, but it looks like a pretty average week in weather.
Well, it's Easter weekend this weekend, so at least it won't be too hot and the Easter eggs won't melt.
Oh, well, that's a very good point, Sean. The Multicultural Festival was on this weekend at Fed Square. Our reporter Rachel went along. Let's see how it went.
Victoria is a state of people from over 200 different countries. To celebrate this, the Victoria Multicultural Commission holds its annual Culture Diversity Week. I am at Federation Square where the Multicultural Festival is held. Today is the highlight of the celebration. More than 45,000 people are to be expected to attend today's festival to watch traditions, taste the food and mingle with each other.
We've got some barbecue chicken. That chili hot sauce is really ridiculously hot. Don't try that.
Need a drink.
We've got it from the Peruvian place just over there, Inca Barbecue. The amount of food here that's different, it's just ridiculous.
The organisers of the event arranged a number of festivities which the children could enjoy. We got involved with the cultural ways which the public were free to explore. The Victoria Multicultural Commission is partnering with ACMI in April for a multicultural film festival. People of all ages can submit their short films centred around what multiculturalism means to them. Established 35 years ago, the Victoria Multicultural Commission helps our states culturally and linguistically diverse. Let's go and have a chat to people celebrating today.
It's our first time in Melbourne, so we don't have. It's a very mixed culture, obviously. You can see by the amount of people. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
We're from Africa. We're having African food.
Oh, lovely, beautiful. Must bring back memories from home as well.
It does. Yeah.
I'm part of the community of Counselor Society, which we go around tying turbans for multicultural festivals. People who always have questions, oh, why do you wear a turban? How does it feel? Does it hurt your head? So it gives us an opportunities to allow people to feel it for themselves, and sometimes answers which can't be answered by just looking. Sometimes you have to be in that situation. So that's why it gives everyone opportunity on how it feels to wear a turban.
I can vouch for that. It's very cosy.
Everyone's been really interested in us and all the stalls. It looks great, yeah.
It's one of those places that make you feel welcome because there's a variety of people and stuff, yeah. So it's beautiful.
Today we are cooking a paella, which is a typical rice plate from Spain, and as well we offer chicken roll, prepared like the Spanish tradition, and chorizo, which is Spanish sausage.
I love chorizo.
Discovering the numerous celebrations, traditions, food and dance joins Melburnians together for a memorable time, expressing why we chose to live in such a welcoming state. Rachel Hudson reporting for Charlie's Update.
Now to sport, we've got Bilal and Sean covering.
Hello. Welcome to sport. Cricket Australia has just recently handed down the decision for Steve Smith, David Warner and Cameron Bancroft to be sent home following the ball tampering incident in South Africa. Smith was saying that the leadership group, that little quote that he referred to the people involved, some people have been saying this has been to protect Bancroft. Bilal, what are your thoughts?
Nah, I don't think so. I think he virtually threw him under the bus when he said that. We can have a look at the clip, if you need proof in the pudding.
What's happened since? You want to explain?
So as you can see, he had no intention of protecting him whatsoever. He blatantly threw him under the bus. He knew that he wouldn't be able to explain the situation. I think to deflect the blame from himself, because as a captain, of course, he's responsible for everything that happens on the field. I think the most honourable thing he did was saying that Darren Lehman didn't know about it. If he had thrown him under the bus, then we would be talking a whole different situation. But luckily for Steve Smith, he kind of took the what they call the high road. Yeah, he took the high road, and he kind of put himself in that by saying that he knew about it as well. But I don't think he had any intention of protecting him.
And that's Darren Lehman, who didn't receive any punishment, at least today, from the scandal. So whether he was part of the leadership group or not, currently he is not. On to basketball. LiAngelo Ball recently declared for the NBA draft. The the famed Ball family that have recently joined the NBA. While he's not the best brother, generally considered he's not the best brother, I think it's more of a PR stunt that he declared for the draft. He's going to go somewhere in the second or undrafted round. And in other news, Dirk Nowitzki. Did you hear about that? Dirk Nowitzki said he plans to...
Dirk Nowitzki, I was picking up my notes. He's what is he, 39, 40 years old?
He's 40 in June, and he's hoping to come back for another season. So whether he can still be effective, that's not the question, but I reckon they'll definitely let him in because, he's been great for Dallas, and he's just going to hang around, and he can play for as long as he wants. So hopefully we see more than just 50. But
and his relationship with Mark Cuban there helps him a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, the president, Mark Cuban, and Dirk Nowitzki, they've been together since day one, since he got drafted 20 years ago, and they love each other apparently.
Yeah, I'm a big Cuban fan, so whatever he says, I'll go with.
Next in sport, what was?
Oh yeah, you were telling me the whole time here that you wanted to talk about Fultz.
Markel Fultz made his much anticipated return last night to the court against Denver. This is his first jump shot.
Didn't quite go to plan.
No, he airballed his first jump shot. The crowd was very excited, but he's been doing that in the first month of the season.
Yeah.
You remember he had muscular imbalance in his shoulder. Whether that's a fake injury or not, the jury's still out on that.
Why did he change his jump shot?
No one knows. He in college he was a really good shooter and he had a really good form. And then when it got to summer league, he just started shooting completely differently.
Yeah,
and
right.
no one knew why. And then when they asked him about it, he said, I've just been working by myself and I thought this was better. And no shooting experts, no coaches, no one told him to change it. He just, he's 19, he's ambitious, he thought he would change.
Have you ever seen a case where someone's gone through something like this, where they've changed their shooting style and then they've, brought it back and taken it back to their old style that worked for them?
I've never seen anyone bring it back. People do change their jump shot generally to the end of their career, and when they're reaching the twilight years, then they might
weaker
get
knees or.
Yeah, weaker knees, so you need stronger strength in the arms. But never has someone as young as he is. He's 19 and he was picked number 1 in the draft. So Philly's got a lot of stock in him. So he better fix the jump shot. I don't know whether he knows he needs to fix the jump shot, because I think in his mind,
I think the strong media presence in the US will let him know about that.
Oh, he has been known.
Yeah.
And it's not been pretty so far.
All right, moving on to football.
Footy, Essendon had a big comeback the other day. You were watching that, I know we both were, and they showed a lot of guts. Who impressed you in that comeback?
Man, to be honest, I was looking for something from Stringer, but he didn't really perform as well as he could have. But he wasn't too bad. I liked Saad. Saad was good. He had some decent contributions. But for me, the standout was the skipper, Dyson Heppel, the way he led by example. And, of course, Michael Hurley at the back, leading from the back, the way he organised the half-back line, it was just absolutely magnificent. And Essendon showed a lot of heart to come back. They finished 7th last season and were knocked out in the first round of the finals. Obviously, spirits haven't been dampened. Helped a lot by the recruiting. 3 star players coming in, and clearly it was very clear from the start of the game that the quality of the team was lifted. They had no intention of being the same team as last season. It's clear that they have no intention of just finishing outside the top 4. Just making the 8. And there's no better statement than beating last season's grand finalists.
Yeah, it's clear. It's definitely clear to us now. But I got to tell you, before I picked Adelaide, and I was really hoping them in a footy tipping sense, but it's clear now. Anyway, Max Gawn missed against Geelong. Is that excusable or inexcusable?
I think it's inexcusable. It's a drop punt. We see the mark here. It's a good pack mark, especially under the circumstances. And what I find amusing is that he actually lets the clock wind down, so he was confident in his own ability to kick the goal, and Geelong would have no time to come back, but he misses. Just hooks it way too much. Hooks the shot to the left, and they say Ruckman can't kick, and he didn't help the stereotype too much there. He let his team down, and I'm sure they put their arms around him. At the end of the day, it's sport. It's round 1. It's still early in the season. It's not a prelim final. It's not a grand final, but it's a 20-metre drop punt. You kick it in training for a warm up. Should be kicking it.
Exactly.
All right, you want to move on to soccer?
Let's move on to soccer.
The
Nil-all
Socceroos played,
draw
eh?
yesterday morning.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Now, the Socceroos this morning, they were absolutely defensive. that's the key word I can use. I mean, the appointment of Bert van Marwijk for me was extremely disappointing. He's always had a defensive philosophy, and after so long with Ange Postecoglou building the attacking philosophy over the last 4 years, to have someone come in who has a completely different philosophy, different ideology about how to play football. He has no intention of continuing what Ange started. It's kind of like a race car driver learning how to drive on automatic his whole life, and then 2 months before Bathurst, you've got to change. You got to start driving manual. Of course, he's going to stall. Yeah. He's not going to be able to drive as well. And the soccer is under basically the exact same circumstance at the moment. All the players are being brought up under Ange's system, and of course, it's not ideal that Ange Postecoglou, virtually abandoned ship. 6-7 months before the World Cup. It's not ideal, but at that point it becomes the FFA's job to find someone who will continue his philosophy, continue his game style, because the players who have been blooded in the last 4 years, in the last World Cup cycle, because of course international football works in World Cup cycles, so we kind of just cleared out a team. At the end of the last cycle, brought in a new team. These guys have been brought up playing attacking football, retaining the ball, and now they feel like they're shackled, if you know what I mean. It's honestly not a very good appointment by the FFA. Bert van Marwijk is a good manager. He's been a very good manager in the past. He led the Netherlands to the World Cup final. But in terms of ideology, there's no continuity between Ange's era and Bert now. And for me, it's very, very disappointing as a Socceroos fan. And I just don't look forward to the games as much as I did before. I still watch them. And the sad thing for me is there's really no youth coming through. There are no young players that you can look at and be like, okay, this is the future. Even if the Socceroos don't do well this World Cup, we have Graham Arnold coming in afterwards, and he'll blood these youngsters. For example, I also support the English national team, which is kind of pathetic because they're not very good at all. But at least with them, there's youth. So they've taken out the recent under 19s, under 20s World Cup, under 17s World Cup, and the under 21s Euros. So they're taking out all the youth competitions, and you've got the likes of Phil Foden coming through. And you're looking at them and you're thinking, at least there's hope. Even if they don't perform at this World Cup. But what's going on with Football Federation Australia? I was speaking to a member of the Olyroos squad just a couple of weeks ago, talking about their recent AFC Championship campaign. And he said that he met the players for the first time when they went into camp. So these players, who he's meant to be playing with, competing with, representing his country with, he met them for the first time at camp when they went, oh, hey mate, I'm Bilal, nice to meet you. All right, let's go out and represent our country now. We've got 3-4 days of training. And then what? And then they go out, they win one game. Oh, yeah, brilliant. Now I know who the boys are. And they lose their next 2 games, get knocked out. And then the Federation complains.
Yeah. What is there to say that World Cup soccer is generally a low-scoring affair and there's a lot more defensive games? So is there that's the reason for the defensive coaching appointment? Or?
I mean, you would say that, right? But then we can take a look at the game against Norway where we concede 4 goals and we get completely run off the park. It's shambolic, really.
But is that going to happen in the World Cup, or is
I think so, because Norway is awful. At the end of the day, I mean, they're clearly better than the Socceroos because of the scoreline, as the scoreline demonstrates.
Yeah.
But we're facing France, and we're facing Denmark. These are quality teams. Yeah. These are very, very good teams that we're going to be playing at the World Cup, and we're going in with this approach. It's ridiculous. I can sit here talking all day, but I don't have the time.
Fair enough. Well, on to entertainment next.
Yeah, entertain us.
Yeah, we will try. Coming up in entertainment, I review one of the largest films in the box office this month. We hear about Australia's biggest and oldest queer film festival. And we also visited a restaurant that is cooking up something special with international influence.
I think I can smell a barbecue.
I think I can too. Stay tuned. On the weekend, I saw Red Sparrow, the movie directed by Francis Lawrence. That's no relation to Jennifer Lawrence, the starring actor of the film. Although they may as well be related because they've had 5 movies together out of the 6 movies that Francis Lawrence has been the director of. It also featured Aussie Joel Egerton. Joel Egerton put in a all right appearance, I'll say, but generally the film was, I got to say, utterly underwhelming. It was a disastrous mix of over-the-top gore, overly sexualised characters, and terrible Russian accents. IMDb currently gives it a 6.8 star rating, and personally I'll give it a 6. And IMDb, they always have bigger ratings while the movie's still in the box office, and that's bound to drop. So for all you hoping to go see Red Sparrow, I would say wait till it's on Netflix, and you may as well see one of the Oscar-nominated movies right now. It's a better use of your time and money.
Yeah, well, I also went to a movie this weekend. Mm-hmm. I went and saw a film called The 5 Provocations, which some of our viewers might have heard of. It's all about a whole heap of different lives brought together, and we are actually welcoming the editor into the studio right now. We've got Kelly here. How are you, Kelly?
Great. Hello.
Yeah, we'd just love to ask you a few questions about the Melbourne Queer Film Festival, which is where the 5 Provocations was screened. Can you tell us more about the film you worked on?
Oh, sure. It's an Australian feature film. It's a drama. The process, I think, was something that was really engaging and interesting about it. So Angie Black, who's one of the lecturers here at La Trobe University, got me on board initially just to sort of see how it all worked. I was a student, just finishing at the time. But the project itself was a long time in development, and it was sort of about how do we incorporate live performance into a drama setting, and how do we document these performance styles without necessarily being a documentary.
Yeah.
This is your first full feature-length film. What was it like being an editor, Foley artist, and associate producer for this magnitude of a project?
Wow. It was wild. I initially joined to help, copy across data SD cards on a pickup shooting day. And then from that, just had a little go at editing the ending. And it just kind of kept snowballing that Angie would throw me a new task and I'd have a go. So, by the end of the project, I'd edited the film, and then, I just was so invested and so involved in the project, and Angie had so much faith in me and really trusted me with her vision, and I think our visions were really aligned. So, it just naturally sort of felt that, like, okay, I actually have the skill to be able to perform the Foley, let's give it a go, or... became a producer in the end just because I'd had, my finger in so many of the pies, like adding music and working with a lot of people on it. So, just kind of kept adding on titles at the end.
Well, now that you've got experience in editing both feature film and short films, which one do you prefer and how do they differ?
Oh, features the one for me. I absolutely loved the process. I mean, it was long and brutal, but... being able to slowly pick away at something like that and come back and change your mind and manipulate characters, you've got so much scope to really tell a story in a long form, and really change that story as well through editing and sound. Short film I totally love, but I think the attachment's a little less because the turnaround time's a lot faster. The feature for me feels really significant because, I've been working on it for 2.5, 3 years now. So, it's a part of my life. It feels like a baby, It's a big deal.
Yeah.
How was the festival as a whole?
Oh, great. It's so exciting that we've got space to, share queer stories. And I think I often find, trying to find my own, queer stories to watch, even just on Netflix and Stan and stuff, there's a lot of really male-centric stories and a lot of stories about coming out, which is we've all done, or for queer people anyway, for myself, I've gone through that. I don't need to see coming out stories anymore. I want to see what life is really like. So being able to put a program together that goes beyond just, coming out stories of queer men, it's really exciting, yeah.
What was the best film you saw there, apart from your own, of course? putting you on the spot here.
No, I don't know. I can't answer that question. Yeah.
Why do you think I know you touched on it a bit, but why do you think having a film festival that focuses on the queer community is so important?
I think, with the plebiscite recently, queer culture and queer society and queer communities we're here, and there's a lot more access to that now, and it's kind of it's a slow process of change. I mean, having a plebiscite at all was a really brutal thing for the queer community to experience, but it sort of brings us further and further to the forefront and to say, like, it's not an othering, we're not these others, we're here as a part of this community and a part of society, and it's just a part of bringing acceptance in to mainstream society.
Where can our viewers find the movie The 5 Provocations?
Well, at this point, it's probably best to hit up the website, www.the5provocations.com. We've just had our festival screening, so we're looking to hopefully do a few more in the future.
And can we find some more of your work there?
Not on that website, but I suppose if I've got to plug anything, it'll be Amateur Hour, which is a web series I've worked on for a couple of years. So that's amateurhour.tv.
All right, what else can we find there? What's on amateurhour.tv?
So that is a variety show, basically. So I was working together with a lot of musicians doing performances and skits and interviews. So, it's half-hour format web series.
Yeah. I actually just want to ask, okay, now that you've worked on the 5 Provocations and Amateur Hour, could you pick your favourite?
They're so different. I mean, they serve such different purposes for me. But I'm going to pick the 5 Provocations. The learning that I got to do on that project and the trust, between the crew and especially with Angie was, it genuinely was life-changing.
Yeah, well, we're so happy that you've come into the studio and talked to us today. And the festival has finished for 2018, but tune in early next year to try and find some more information about next year's festival. Again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to throw to a package now that one of our reporters made.
Yeah, on the weekend we visited a restaurant called Fancy Hanks, who teamed up with world-renowned chef Daniel Brooks. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
Fancy Hanks was busy during the Melbourne Food Festival.
Thanks for that.
Alongside their usual customers, they hosted bookings for Chef Daniel Brooks from Leach's Cantina in Austin, Texas. It was Chef Daniel's first time in Melbourne, and he already had something to say about the weather.
It's just like Texas, every day has been different, One day it was cold, one day it was hot, yesterday it was raining, but I'm glad the weather cooperated today for this rooftop patio,
Chef Daniel met the Fancy Hanks crew in Austin, and they hit it off right away.
These boys that own Fancy Hanks, they came to South by in Austin, Texas last year. And as soon as we met, it was instant connection, It's like even because of what we do for a living, that they're restaurant people, I'm a restaurateur, we're in the service industry, we're in the hospitality industry. It was a very organic connection, right? The crowd came. I think we ended up serving close to 200 people. It was a great experience working with the crew here. I'm really happy with all the flavors that we put out, Mexican flavors, and the culture of Mexico being represented here in Melbourne. I think we did a good job, yeah.
In a collaboration with the owners, he decided to bring the many flavours of Tex-Mex cuisine to Melbourne, using food to spread a message about Tex-Mex and Mexican culture to the relatively uninitiated Melbourne public.
There is a difference between Tex-Mex and Mexican cuisine, right? But the way to really give Tex-Mex or Mexican food a good impression is by inviting people that live it, cook it, eat it on a daily basis, and then give them the opportunity to come over here and be able to represent those flavors in the most authentic way possible. Yeah, and then also the music, like right now we're blaring that Mexican cumbias and the chicha music, that also adds to the flavor and to the experience of eating these flavors,
The centrepiece of the afternoon was a cochinita pibil, a whole pig that had been smoked for 24 hours, then roasted on the surface before being pulled apart.
So that's a cochinita pibil, so that's a very traditional dish in the Yucatan Peninsula. We brined it for a couple days with orange juice and some cilantro, or here y'all say coriander, and vinegar. And then we smoked it overnight, and then we crisped it up in the rooftop over live charcoal. So, I'm really happy with the way it came out.
Things have changed in the world of culinary arts in recent years. With the rise of the foodie, some restaurateurs have found themselves having to adapt to the open nature of instant public reviews on the internet. But Chef Daniel seems to have fared well enough.
Before, back in the days, I'm very old school, right? Like the Italian restaurant that we had, we became popular just through word of mouth. Times they are changing. For any business, whether you're a restaurant or a clothing store, you know, you want the world to know about what you're doing, and definitely bloggers, and even like with the Yelp reviews, I could say it's like giving anybody a gun because they could just write anything about you, and even if they have the palate to write or whatever, but still, it's a way to have people express their opinions. But now bloggers, you could tell that, you know, they're a little bit more passionate about it, and you know, they really go out there and they try to educate themselves about it and experience the food, and that way they could give an educated opinion. And so definitely, it's a great thing to help create awareness of any type of flavor, cuisine, culture, or brand that you're trying to put out there. So no, we welcome them.
Upon arriving, he found himself impressed by the preparedness of the Fancy Hanks crew, and he had this to say about the possibility of a rise in Tex-Mex and Mexican food in Melbourne.
The barbecue that these boys are doing here in Melbourne is legit. I mean, it's something that I tell them they should be very proud of, the staff. You already have what it takes to make this delicious food. I guess it's now just bringing the people or having the people that dig themselves more into it and practice doing it more. But there's no reason why Melbourne can't have a great Mexican or Tex-Mex food scene, you know?
For Chef Daniel, sharing his culture and seeing the content faces of his customers is the ultimate reason for his passion of food and cooking.
Look, bottom line, this is what I was put on earth to do. God didn't give me a singing voice, I can't act, right? But I could definitely evoke emotion through making good food, right? And so that's the reason why I do it, because I put out a good plate of food, and no matter if it's Italian food, Mexican food, Asian food, whatever the case may be, when I see the reaction that I create in people's lives, or that I create a positive memory, you know, that's why I'm doing it, right? Because it's an opportunity to feed people's souls and bellies, and in return, I feed my soul, you know?
Chef Daniel Brooks will be here until the 30th of March, returning to Austin, Texas, where he'll be working in 2 more festivals. Beyond that is left to whatever opportunities present themselves.
The best plan is no plan, so let's see what happens, but I can promise you that whatever happens, I'll do it with love and passion.
This is Sean Carroll, Charlie's Update. Now, we had a lovely time there at Fancy Hanks. It was just delicious. Not only was Daniel Brooks amazing to talk to, he also gave us a free meal. My lovely cameraman Tristan and I, we got treated to a meal that everyone was eating. We saw it on the cameras, and we were just speechless. We were just speaking in just ums and ahs for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it looked absolutely amazing. That pig that they were cooking for a few days, I think I heard, that's incredible. So what did you actually get?
So we got this big tray, like it was a big tray, and I had a bit of the pig, which was just amazing. Then I had some ox tongue, which we didn't actually know it was ox tongue until he told us. And while I don't want to say it put me off because it was delicious before, it put me off a bit, but it was delicious. And then he had some pickled vegetables, like some pickled onions, some pickled carrots, a bit of rice. And he had this bean paste cooked in a banana leaf, a couple of them. And we just loved that. The bean paste was amazing. He sprinkled a bit of Parmesan cheese over it, and it was just amazing. Like I said, we were speaking in primitive English. We were just and ah.
I'm very jealous that you got to go to that one and not me. Maybe I'll take over the food from now on.
Maybe you can, because our food section is going to be a weekly thing. Every week we're going to go to a new restaurant and feature a new dish and a new restaurant and what's going on in Melbourne and the best places to eat. So there's definitely some more weeks where you can have your opportunity.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to start tagging along for that one. If you have just tuned in, we just want to recap a little bit of what you've missed. So there has been some new information about the cricket ball tampering scandal. Steve Smith, David Warner and Cameron Bancroft are the ones who have come out and said that it was all them. The CEO refused to actually call them cheaters, but they did also let Darren Lehman, the coach, off the hook. He was not involved, as speculations were around saying that he might resign. So that one has all been cleared up a bit more. They are on their way home now, and their punishments will be coming out later today. Also, Julie Bishop will be meeting with the ambassador of Russia, so we can find out what Russia is actually planning for our Australian diplomats based over there. So pretty tense coming up with that one. But we also found out that Prince William is not going to attend the FA Cup final, even though he is the president of the Football Association. So that's pretty big considering he's the president. But it is the same day as his brother's wedding. So I don't know, do you think he should be allowed to take that one off?
Well, he's more of an honorary president. He doesn't actually have an actual role in the FA Cup, but I mean, I know what I would pick. I don't really want to go to Prince Harry's wedding. But
Oh, see, I would prefer to be at the wedding.
well, maybe, I guess that's the decision he's got to make. So he's got these two decisions.
Yeah, I mean, he is a royal though, so he can't really miss a royal wedding. It's a pretty big event for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's the decision he came down with.
And if he's not the actual president, I mean, he could probably miss it.
Plus, I'm sure he has a phone. Like, I've got a little bit of cash in the royal family, so I'm sure he can just watch the game on the side while Harry's getting married.
Oh, could you imagine that, just sitting in the church and Prince William sitting there with his phone?
Just another update on the cricket thing. So the 3 players have been sent home and they are getting replaced by Matthew Renshaw, Glenn Maxwell and Joe Burns. So while it's terrible and a tragedy for Australian cricket, there is a silver lining. 3 guys are getting more of an opportunity to show themselves to Australia, and I will be looking out for Joe Burns because he had a really big bash this last season, so expecting big things from him.
Yeah, that's great. I also actually saw today that Tim Payne, he has been appointed as the new captain. Only 5 months ago, there was a bit of talk about why he was even picked for the team. So the fact that, 5 months later, he's now the captain, that's incredible, hey?
Yeah, he's also more of a veteran member of the cricket team. I think he's just above 32 at the moment. So, yeah, give it to the older leadership. We've got some new news here.
Yeah.
The Melbourne International Comedy Festival is starting today and will run for 4 weeks. And I just love the comedy festival. I've already got tickets to Akmal, Luke Hagee and Becky Lucas. And I am pumped. Are you going to anything?
I am. I actually went to the gala last weekend, which was shown on TV over on Sunday. And that was absolutely incredible. If you get a chance next year, go to the gala. It gives you a taste of kind of all the comedians that are around. But I've also got tickets to Daniel Sloss, a Scottish comedian. Also Bear Pack, which is an improvised show. Another improv show. And I'm also going to a Shakespeare show where one of the performers get drunk before the show. So that'll be pretty entertaining.
That will be interesting.
Yeah. We also found out on social media this week that Beyonce got bitten on the face. And social media is just in absolute uproar about who is this person? Like, who would bite someone and who would bite them on the face?
I don't know how they got there. I don't know the details, but that seems like a pretty tricky thing to do.
Yeah, well, it happened at the after party of one of her husband's performances. But yeah, it just confuses me so much. Like, and it's Beyonce. I mean, why would you bite Beyonce?
I guess if you're going to bite anyone, you would bite someone famous.
Yeah,
you make the news. They're in the news.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe they just want to get famous. But I mean, I think this is the wrong way to get famous.
Yeah, there's definitely more ethical ways to get there, isn't there?
Yeah, I agree.
In movie news, again, there's a Deadpool 2 trailer that just came out, and I love Deadpool 1, so I can't wait to see what Deadpool 2 is going to have. And it's just another movie that Marvel has just put out there, and Marvel in their long list of movies, and it's just, they are building something.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe that's another movie you can review in your reviews
Sean's
that you do
reviews.
each week.
Yeah, we might see that, and hopefully it's a bit better than Red Sparrow, which I'm sure it will be, but ooh.
Yeah, I was going to go see Red Sparrow, but after that review, I don't think I will.
Yeah, save your money and your time.
Yeah, so also Marvel, speaking of Marvel releasing Deadpool 2 soon, they have released Avengers Infinity War, the trailer for it, and that should be coming in April, which is so exciting. It's such a great series, The Avengers. So it'll be really great.
Apparently, it'll also be one of the most ambitious crossovers in history.
Oh, here we go. Hey.
Seen a few memes on that, but we'll see. The proof is in the pudding. Let's see when it comes out.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll see that one again on Sean's reviews in a few weeks.
Again, it's all a maybe, but
yeah. Well, we do have another interview coming up, and we will be doing similar interviews every week. Each week we'll be bringing in a La Trobe student club/society, and we'll get to hear a little bit more about them. We hope to find some ones that maybe a little lesser known, but also some of the really popular ones that you just want to hear more about. So this week we do have the water polo team, but yeah, we just can't wait to hear more about it.
Exactly. I am joined by Matt Weinman. How are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks.
So you're part of the La Trobe University water polo team. Tell me something about that. Just what is that? I know what water polo is, but how is it?
So it's obviously a student-dominated club. We've got about 50 members. We play water polo in the local communities with Water Polo Victoria. We're actually probably winning most of the comps that we're in. So, yeah, exciting things.
Yeah, so where do you play that? Is there a La Trobe pool? Or?
Yep, so we train out of La Trobe at the Sports Centre, but we play mostly at MSAC, so the Melbourne Sports and Aquatic Centre, and Melbourne High.
Oh, yeah. Is there men and women teams, or is it mixed, or is it...
Yep, so obviously you probably don't want to have men and women playing against each other. It is a very physical sport. We have 2 men's teams, and we've actually just entered 2 women's teams for the year.
I heard water polo is a really rough sport. I saw some video that while above the water it just looks like basketball in water, but underwater it can get pretty busy under there with a few people throwing a couple of punches and pinches.
Oh, punches probably aren't allowed, but definitely there's a lot of wrestling that goes on under the water. It's controlled aggression is the best way to describe it.
And is that within the rules, or is it you just can't see it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got the ball, essentially there are no rules apart from punching.
That sounds fun. Actually, that interests me. How long does the game go for? Is it quarters or halves or?
Yeah, quarters. About 28 minutes of just continuous gameplay. So yeah, you're in the water for, from anywhere from 10 minutes to 28 minutes in total.
Who do you play against? So is it other universities, or is it do you play local teams or?
Yep. So we play obviously against local teams. So anywhere from Fairhaven down on the Great Ocean Road, all the way up to a local club, DVE, so Diamond Valley. But we also participate in the Australian University Games, so we get to compete against Melbourne University, Bond University, etc.
What's the best thing about water polo? What keeps you going?
The club or the sport itself?
Both. Well, let's start with the sport.
So the sport itself, it's obviously very physical, so you get fit pretty quickly. The club, I would say, I'm as the president, it's definitely the club culture. We're very welcoming, and it's just a great environment to be part of.
I've noticed, back to the roughness of sport, you've got a bit of a scratch on your neck there. Did that come from water polo?
Yeah, last on training on Monday.
Did you come out on top?
There's no winners, but yeah, I won.
You said that La Trobe wins a lot, which is great to hear. Whereabouts are you on the ladder now? Or?
So we're just actually about to kick off into a new season. Last season, both our men's teams won their respective tournaments, and our girls' teams are probably going to win at least one of their tournaments this year.
Congratulations. For any of our listeners that might want to join the La Trobe water polo team, how many times do you train a week?
We train twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays being the key focus. We've actually just hired one of probably the best women's coach in Victoria at the moment. So if any girls want to come down, feel free, and likewise the invitation is extended to the guys.
And what's the uniform like? Do you wear your little budgie smugglers?
Tony Abbott's red budgie smugglers.
Red for La Trobe, of course.
Red for La Trobe, and the girls obviously are bathers as well.
And how deep's the pool? Can you stand and jump off the water?
It's actually against the rules to jump off the bottom, so you're treading water for 28 minutes.
Is it really deep?
Some pools are, but yeah, you just get used to it.
Yeah, exactly. Were you a good swimmer before you started playing water
Absolutely
polo?
not.
Yeah?
I'm a goalie, so I'm probably not the quickest in the pool. There are a few swimmers that played or that swam for La Trobe and have won medals at various tournaments. But as a general rule, as long as you've got an ability not to drown, we're more than happy to have you.
Yeah, it tends to help. Have there been any funny moments? Anything that you remember?
Funny moments are just stuff that happens in the pool that you just look at and you don't realize that it's going on. I guess I realised that someone had actually dacked me in a tournament, and yeah, my bathers were on the other side of the pool when I realised. So
How long did it take you to realise that?
far too long, far too long.
How can we join? How can our members join? How can we get in contact?
So the best way would probably be just to message the Facebook page. Otherwise, Mondays and Wednesdays for training come down at about 8 p.m. We get the pool for the 2 hours, so yeah, feel free to come down then.
Are there any social events outside of the pool?
Yeah, so obviously we do various pub crawls, I should say, and various lawn bowls and things like that. But yeah, we're always open to suggestions if people have ideas.
Nice. Have you got many first year students joining?
This year's actually been fantastic for having first years. So I think we've picked up about 11 first year students. Yeah, it's pretty good.
One of my favourite parts about sport is the sledging and the crap talking. I love it in basketball and cricket. Are there any sledgers in water polo?
Look, probably not. The community itself is quite welcoming.
Okay.
So it's probably one of the few sports that there is that much sledging. There's banter in the pool, but it's not nothing against from the pool internally.
Yeah, exactly. Are you part of any other sports or just water polo?
Yeah, I'm actually a triathlete as well. So yeah, that's my other thing.
It probably helps a bit in the water.
Does a little bit, and I've played lacrosse as well. So a few different sports here and there.
Is it hard to be the goalie? In soccer, obviously, there's a lot of pressure on the goalie because he's the last one. But with your smaller goals in water polo, do you reckon it's easier? Or?
Look, I like being a goalie because you get the opportunity to see the whole pool, and you get to have that decisive input into the game. But no, it's just another position, so you just get used to it.
When's your next game?
We're actually playing tonight down at Melbourne High in a local tournament, so we'll see how we go.
Who are you playing there?
We're playing the Melbourne Surge, so that's a LGBTI community sport. Yeah.
Are you going to win?
We beat them last week, so we should win again.
What's an average score for water polo as well?
As a goalie, if you're letting in less than 6 a game, you've had a good game, but upwards of 10 for scoring is pretty good.
Where are you guys on the ladder at the moment?
So this tournament's not necessarily ranked, but we should be up top.
Is it more of a social,
Yeah, a bit social, still kind of like a pre-season tournament.
Okay. And, sorry, just fixing up my notes. How did you join?
I joined out of playing for the team or for the club at the uni games a couple of years ago, but I've played for another few clubs as well.
So you just joined in, or did you have friends there, or what made you?
I didn't even know La Trobe had a water polo club. And then an advertisement went out, and I decided to stick around.
Yeah, it's good. What uni game? The uni games. I know they're in Gold Coast this year. I think. Where were yours?
I've been at the Gold Coast. I've been to Perth, and again the Gold Coast again. So Gold Coast a few times doesn't hurt.
That's good. Did you win when you were over there?
We've only won one game as a team up there. The sport itself's generally dominated by New South Wales clubs or universities. So we're competing against Olympians. People about to become Olympians and some pretty high level players. So it's a challenge being from Victoria.
What are the spectators like?
Fantastic. Again, it's a really welcoming community. One of my, best memories was actually being coached by a former Olympian who played for another university but decided to help us out, which was pretty cool.
Who was that?
I don't know his name, but it was one of the Cottrell brothers. So,
okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, meeting an Olympian. Is Australia good in the Olympics in water polo?
I'm probably not the best person to ask about this, but the women's team, I think, won the first gold when it was a first women's sport. You know, they've won bronze medals here and there. The guys, I'm not too sure. I think they're finishing about 7th or 8th at the Olympics.
That's pretty good. So, cool.
Cool.
Anything else?
Yeah, look,
Anything
you know,
else?
we're always happy to bring in new members, so come down. Pretty friendly bunch, so yeah.
Final thing. Is that what's it like balancing doing uni and doing a sport as well? Is it hard to get a work-life balance there?
No, so I mean, you just get used to it. I mean, I've been at uni for a few years now. I think another good thing about joining a club is that there's probably someone in your club that does a degree that's similar to yours or is the same degree. And I know personally, I've got about 4 or 5 friends who are doing the same subjects at the same stage of their degree as me. And it's great having that social aspect.
As well.
Yeah, that support.
Yeah, that's good. What are you studying?
I'm final year law.
Oh, so that's pretty full on with your water polo, is it?
Oh, yeah, it's getting there, but
Yeah.
no, I'm pretty happy.
Are you enjoying it?
Loving it.
And do you reckon if you said final year of law, so after you finish, you're going to keep going with the water polo?
Yeah, definitely. It's a great club to be part of.
Are you able to continue through uni, or do you find a team
Yeah,
outside?
we have a number of players who are not just alumni, but have come from different universities and just general people who wanted to play water polo. So we're an all-inclusive club. You don't have to be a student or alumni.
So is that maybe what makes Latrobe a bit of a powerhouse here? We're attracting all these free agents.
We're attracting the talent, yeah. If only we could issue contracts, but...
Nah, I think it's good keeping it free. Otherwise, it'll get a bit expensive hearing about our success. Starting a bit of a dynasty here in Latrobe, in the Latrobe water polo team.
We do what we can.
Exactly. So I'd like to thank Matt Wyman for joining us here. Thank you.
Thanks.
Maybe we've got a future Olympian here, hey?
Maybe we do. I don't know. I think Australia does need a bit.
Yeah, well, I've got to say, I've got a bit of a funny story about water polo, actually. When I was a first year here at uni, I went to the Clubs and Societies fair that they have at the start of the year. And I was like, oh, you know what, I love swimming. I think water polo is pretty cool. Maybe I'll go sign up. So I went to go sign up. And I got all the flyers. I'm pretty sure I still have them at my house now. And then the timings didn't work out, but it just looked so intense. It kind of scared me off a bit. But now that I've heard a bit more about it, maybe I'll join.
Maybe you can. And to all our other listeners out there, you heard the time and place to be. So come on down and join the Latrobe water polo team.
Yeah, and maybe if anyone's free tonight, go and watch the game at Melbourne High. That could be pretty interesting. Can people go and watch the game?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can come.
Free admission?
Free admission, yeah. We won't charge.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can both join water polo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind wearing a couple of budgie smugglers. Any excuse to wear a budgie smuggler? There's not many these days.
I mean, well, I love swimming, so any chance to get in the pool, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, water's my kryptonite, so I wouldn't be able to go very far. Maybe I'll be a goalie, except you still have to swim. I don't know. I'll find a way around it.
Well, maybe next week we'll bring in a different club and society that's still sport-based, where you don't have to swim as much.
Maybe a land-based sport.
Yeah, maybe just cycling or something. Keep it a bit easier for you. Yeah, well, again, if you've only just tuned in, we are actually finishing soon, but we do have more updates that we did bring a little earlier about the cricket scandal that's going on. So there are 3 new members replacing Steve Smith, David Warner and Cameron Bancroft. Did you have those names, Sean?
Yeah, Matt Runshaw, Glenn Maxwell and Joe Burns will be replacing him.
Yeah, and so the punishments for the 3 players that I did mention, that should be coming in the next 24 hours at least. So, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tense just, leading up to that. And
definitely the lowest part in Australian cricketing history, apart from the underarm ball. I actually read an article the other day that they interviewed the guy that bowled the underarm ball.
Yep.
He feels he's maybe one of the best feeling guys at the moment because he says he's not the worst person in Australian cricket at the moment. So 37 years on and he got knocked off the perch of worst cricketing moment at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, I think it doesn't look great on Australia. And I did see an interview with Julie Bishop this morning and they were asking her about it as Foreign Minister. And she was even saying the amount of like ambassadors and other ministers from other countries that have spoken to her about it and said, look, it's giving us such a bad reputation in cricket, especially because we're such a big cricketing country. It just looks so bad for us.
And because cricket's such an international sport, it's mainly dominated by the international game, so it's definitely getting worldwide reception, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, now other teams, like if they start being accused of cheating, it can look really bad. So I mean, I'm not a big fan of sport and cricket, but I'm definitely going to be watching the news to find out what will happen next with this story.
Next, we're going to go on to what's going on in Latrobe this week.
Yeah, so I know it is Wednesday and we do have food trucks that are here every Wednesday. So after the show, if you're on campus, I'm definitely going to be there. So maybe you could go check it out too. What else is going on?
Well, there's every Wednesday we have the student union with their breakfast down on a Wednesday morning. I think they were there this morning as well, of course. And on a Tuesday, you can get your free sausage sizzle or veggie patty.
Yeah, well, that's perfect for us in the lead up to our show.
Exactly.
We'll have to do that next week.
We can grab some. I did do it this week, actually.
Yeah.
I got here a bit earlier than everyone, and I got my free brekkie and then came right here. And have you been to Nuts About Talla lately?
I have. When it first opened on campus, I found out about it actually quite late than like after it opened, and that place is so cool.
I was in there as soon as it opened and got my Nutella donut and then got my Nutella pizza with the strawberries on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you haven't heard what Nuts About Talla is, it's just a shop, like a food shop where pretty much everything has Nutella in it. So whether that's, Nutella donuts, Nutella pizza, I mean, I'm a big fan, so I think everyone should be going and checking it out.
They also, not only do they don't just specialise in sweets, they've got a lot of savoury things. They've actually got a whole burger range that's based off Kanye West songs. So I know yesterday I think I had the graduation burger,
yep.
And my friend had the Heartless burger, which was the veggie burger. So you get the little pun there, Heartless. And they're always blaring out Kanye songs. I don't know how they keep finding them. And there's the 808s and Heartbreak burger, I think.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. Yeah, maybe I should get that for lunch. Not today because it's Food Truck Wednesday, but maybe tomorrow I'll go and get a burger from Nuts About Talla.
Definitely, you will not regret it. And
yeah, no, well, I mean, maybe we could cover Nuts About Talla for our food segment each week.
Yeah. And if you're wondering what the deal is, you can get a burger, chips, and a drink, a can for $10.
Oh, that's pretty good. All right, so I think we've promoted Nuts About Talla. Everyone should be going and checking that out. I love that place. Yeah, but I mean, what else is going on at uni this week?
The new Ask Latrobe just opened. Obviously, we were away on the Christmas holidays, but as you can see, it's all decked out and golden. I didn't know gold's a bit of a bold choice, and it's new and it's working well so far.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you haven't gone and looked at it, even if you're a first year or even if you've been here for a few years, go and have a look at it. The new facilities, they've expanded their team. So, if you've got any questions that Ask Latrobe can answer, go and see them about it. And you did mention the bold colours. I've got to bring up the Bold Thinking series, which Latrobe is running. And the next one that's coming up, I'm not too sure of the date, but Julie Bishop is going to be speaking at it.
Yeah.
So pretty impressive, yeah.
Where's this? Where can we find this?
I believe it's in April. I'll have to double check and I'll bring you the info definitely next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it should be in April and it's in the city. And Julie Bishop's going to speak at it about some of the foreign policies we've got. And
that's big.
Maybe we can ask her some cricket questions.
Maybe we can. She's been asked that a lot lately. She might be a bit annoyed at that. And obviously next week's the Easter break. Have you got any plans for that?
I think I'll be doing a lot of study. I've got to keep up study. We are students, so I'll be doing a lot of study. Maybe I'll have a couple of rest days since we do have some days off. But I think it'll mostly be getting ready for some assignments that are due in week 5.
Yeah, those assignments right after the break where the lecturers act as if it's not a break and it's just more time to do assignments. That always gets me.
Yeah.
they call it a break, but not too sure about that.
Yeah, and I do just want to mention that we will not be having a show next week. It is the break. So I know this is only our first show, but we're going to take a break for a week and then we'll be back in week 5, so in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, we hope we can see everyone there. But I mean, I hope to have a relaxing holiday. But I think I'll be getting ready for the show.
I think we can find a bit of relaxation time. So thank you for tuning in to Charlie's Update. This has been Kelsey and Sean, and we will see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah. You've been watching Charlie's Update.